Okay, so make sure that you do the more difficult problems on this review. So first thing we're going to start with is number 4. I'm going to reorganize it so that my x squared goes first. I'm going to add 8x over to the other side. Put a blank. I'm going to add y squared. What am I doing? Add y squared minus 2y plus a blank equal to negative 8. So this 8 needed to move over, and these two need to move over. So I did a little reorganizing. So now I'm going to complete it. So I'm going to put 2 blanks on this side because I have 2 blanks over here. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared is 16. So 16 goes here too. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. So that's 1. So then this turns into x plus 4 squared. This turns into y minus 1 squared. Excuse me. Equals 9 whenever I combine all these numbers over here. Here's our circle with a center of negative 4, 1, radius of 3. So negative 4, 1, radius of 3. Pretty simple on the circle graphing. So obviously don't mess up like I did. Let me go get a cough drop. Alright, so let's work one of the ellipses, and we're going to answer every single question that it says, so then we know all those on the test. So for instance, we're going to do, trying to see which one's more difficult. I like number 5. So, number 5, I'm going to name my center from just the equation. My center is 2, negative 5. This is really over 1, so my A is 5, my B is 1, and my C would be C squared equals A squared minus B squared, so that's 25 minus 1, which is 24. Now square root of 24 is okay, but really this could be written as 2 square root of 6. Okay, so now let's just graph. So 2, negative 5. So underneath the x was a 25, so I'm going to go 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And then underneath the y was a 1, so square root of 1. We have our Hey Arnold ellipse. It asks us to name the vertices. So the vertices are the 2 main ones. So that would be 7, negative 5, and negative 3, negative 5. My foci will be on the main axis. So my main axis is x. So I take my 2 and I put my C on my x of my center. Okay, so there's my foci. I just took my center and put it on the x value. My length of my major is all the way across, so my major is 10, my minor is 2. Alright, so let's look at one. Let's do more difficult ones. Let's jump to number 9. So I like 9, because I know I saw people miss this already on the assignment. So this center is at negative 14, 3. So if I wanted to go left 3 and up 1, if it goes left 3, it would go, I don't want to say more negative, but it would go continue left, and so it gets smaller. And then up 1 would mean I add 1 to the y's. So then my new center is at negative 17, 4. So then my new equation is that. Okay, so you have to be very careful on signs because you could get the totally wrong answer. So let's look at 10. So 10 is excellent because you need to know your circumference equation. So your circumference equation is either pi r squared, wait, nope, that would be area. Circumference is 2 pi r. So if this is the case, and this is 6 pi equals 2 pi r, so I divide by 2 pi, pi's cancel, r is 3. So if I have my radius and then I have my center, then I have enough information to put this circle together. That's 3 squared. Alright, so the next one, I don't have my center or my radius, so my diameter, okay, that goes from, end to end. Well, my center will be right in the middle. So what I need to do is do my midpoint, meaning I need to find the middle point between. So for midpoint, you add the x's, divide by 2, add the y's, divide by 2. So 18 over 2 is 9. Negative 2 over 2 is negative 1. So there's my center. And then to find my radius, I'm going to take my equation that I now know, right? And, I'm going to take a point. So I like the point 12, negative 3, and I'll explain that in a second. So 12 for x, negative 3 for y. So this is 3 squared plus negative 2 squared equals r squared. So that's 9 plus 4 gives us a 13. So then my final equation is x minus 9 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 13. So make sure to go back in and put the center and put your radius squared. This is radius squared already. Alright, let's go to $17. Alright, so your vertices are related to your center because your center should be right in between those two vertices. So I also want you to notice, well, let me find the center and then I want you to notice something. So I'm going to find the midpoint between the two vertices. 7 plus negative 19 over 2. 7 plus 7 over 2. So that's negative 6, 7. Now I want you to notice something. Look at your vertices. What numbers do they share? 7 for y. Look at your co-vertices. What do they share? Negative 6 for x. Not a coincidence that this center happens to be what they all share in common. Alright, so we have this ellipse at negative 6, 7. So up here is my center. And then at negative 19, 7 is my vertices. Well, from your center to one of your vertices is your A. So if this is at negative 6 and this is at negative 19, that would mean that your A is 13. Okay, so that's the distance between your A is the distance between your center and your one of your vertices. So then B comes from your co-vertices. So your B comes from your distance from your center to one of your co-vertices. Well, one of my co-vertices is at negative 6, 0. That means from here to here is my B. Well, that's 7. So B equals 7. Now I have enough. X plus 6 squared plus y minus 7 squared equals 1. It appears to be more, according to my vertices, they're on the same y line, meaning that it's wider across. So that means it's 169 because that's 13 squared. And then we have b squared, which is 49. Alright, so we're going to do a couple, probably about two more. So let's look here. Let's see. So, endpoints on the major axis, and then our foci. Well, from your foci, you can tell your center, because remember, we always put it on our center. We can actually already tell the c value, too. The c value is plus or minus square root of 55. So c equals square root of 55. My center comes from what's here, 1, comma 1. 1, comma 1. Okay, I got my center, I got my c. Now, if I have my center and I have some endpoints on the major axis, then I know what my a is, because from this point to this point, this distance from center to one of the points should be my a. So my a will be 8, because this isn't at 9 and that one's at 1. I also know my major axis is my x-axis, because that's where my foci is. So now I'm going to do c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So that's c squared is square root of 55 squared, 55. A squared is 64 minus b squared. So when I solve for b squared, I get b squared equals 9. And now I have everything. I don't need to find that b is 3, no big deal, because in the equation I need b squared. Alright, so judging by that I said it's already more, it's a horizontal ellipse, because according to my foci, so my a squared will go underneath here, so that's 64. My b squared will go underneath here, because that's the other place. Alright, we're going to do one more, a completing square one, down here, number 23. So I'm going to take out a 25. I can already tell it's probably going to be, so these two terms need to go next to it. So I need to take a 25 off of both of those, so that gives me 8x plus blank. I'm going to take a 4 off of both of my y terms, y squared minus 4 plus blank, equals, now I'm going to subtract 316 and add 2 blanks, because I have 2 things to complete. So 8 divided by 2 squared is 16, but whenever I don't put 16 over here, I put 16 times 25, which is 400. And then I put a 4 here, that'll complete it. Then 4 times 4 is 16, that'll get put right here. Alright, so then I rewrite this, 25x plus 4 squared plus 4y minus 2 squared equals 100 when you combine all these together. Divide by 100. So x plus 4 squared over, I just had a 4, okay, plus y minus 2 squared over 25 equals 1. And it's an ellipse. That's how you classify it. It's either circle or ellipse right now. Alright, best of luck. Make sure you check your answers, because I think that's why some of us on the last test didn't do so well. Our answers were not checked from my answers that I sent out. Best of luck, and I'll see you Wednesday.